K6LGL, Whiskey 7, November Echo Radio.
Okay, Whiskey 7, November Echo India, W7 NEI. Good evening, K6LGL. Actually, the net control for the Drake net is KW6G in the San Francisco Bay Area, a little east. But good evening, the band is stretched out long. Pretty good signal there. Whereabouts are you? I'm in Santa Monica. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get back on frequency. Let me put this back. Hang on. I'll put this back on 95, okay? Here we go. I'm back on 95. K6LGL. So, W7 NEI, I believe. K6LGL.
Okay, K6LGL, Whiskey 7, November Echo Radio. Name here is Robert. I'm in Oregon. I just heard you in there and thought I would say hello. I'm on a Drake TR7 tonight.
Okay, in Oregon. Very good. Very good. Glad to hear you. As I said, the band is stretched long. We're not hearing any of the local signals. This has been the condition here for the last couple of weeks. I'm in Santa Monica, and the name is Skip, S-K-I-P. Yeah, make sure I get your location and name correctly there. I appreciate it. My call is K6LGL, Little Green Light, and I do the early check-ins. Sometimes help out the net control there, which is KW6G, and that's Charles up in Clayton, California. So, W7... Oh boy, this pen isn't working worth a damn. Oh, hang on. Maybe I could get one that writes here a little bit better. Let me see. No. Anyway, let's turn it back to you. In the meantime, let's see if anybody else shows up for the net. K6LGL.
KW6G, you're 5 and 9, Skip.
Well, there you are, W6. We have a check-in from Oregon. You want to check him in, K6LGL?
I didn't get his call. Go ahead.
Whiskey 7, November Echo Radio, Oregon.
W7NER, KW6G. We're 30 miles east of San Francisco. Name is Charles. Charlie Hotel Alpha Romeo Lima Echo Sierra. You're 5 and 9 in here this evening. Go ahead.
Okay, did you say Charles?
Charles is the name.
Okay, Charles. Yeah. You're about 5'9" here as well, into near Medford, Oregon. Name is Robert. I'm on a TR7 tonight, and just thought I'd check in for the first time, I believe, on the Drake net.
Well, welcome, sir. We're here every Thursday night, except next week it's the Thanksgiving holiday, so we're not going to have a formal net because I won't be here. And I guess a lot of the other folks probably won't be here either. But other than that, we're here every Thursday night at 7:30. And your TR7 sounds great this evening. Nice copy, 5.9 plus. Certainly a big change from last week. Last week it was like you couldn't hear anybody. The band was so long. The East Coasters were coming in here 5 and 9 plus, but the West Coasters were non-existent. They were just passing overhead. Anyways, Skip, go ahead if you're taking the early. W6LGL in the group, KW6G.
Okay, thank you, Charles, and good evening to both of you there. Yeah, well, the band is long, but both of you are doing well. Of course, you're far enough away, but I'm not hearing any of the locals yet. They may show up. For some reason, I misplaced my usual writing pen, and now I can't find the one that I could write down the calls with. Have a bit of a problem here for a moment, but probably will solve it here shortly. How's the signal there in Oregon? You're S9 here. You are S9. And again, I brushed against the dial accidentally. Put it back on 5-0. Yeah, should be close to 5-0 now. I'm using temporarily my 902 DM. transceiver. It's got all the work bands and also runs AM, FM, the whole thing. Got an interesting piece of equipment. So, back to you there, and then let's take a standby for any other early check-ins or regular check-ins to the Drake's Net. And Charles, sure good to hear you. So, up in Oregon, K6LGL.
Okay, K6LGL, Whiskey 7, November Echo Radio. Yeah, you drifted there, Skip, a little bit. You're back on frequency now. You're about 5'8" here, but you're fading a little bit. So I'll just listen in and see who checks in and enjoy being on here. So thanks, Charles, and thanks, Skip. K6LGL, Whiskey 7, November Echo Radio.
KF7, Tango Yankee. Tapio, KF7, Tango Yankee, KW6G. Long time no hear. You're 5 and 9. Yeah, real fine, Charles. Yeah, you know, work days, just the work week just wears a person out. So I can hear W7NER, K6LGL. I heard Robert out of Medford. You got a nice signal up here too, into Ellensburg, Washington. Putting out a full kilowatt out of the L4B here. TR4C, RV4C here, combination MN2000. So, no, I'm going to try to get back into the swing of things. It's winter time, propagation also in the summertime, spring, summer, and fall. You know, it's just not really great. So, wintertime propagation for me is a lot better. So, back to you, KW6G, KF7TY. Yeah, KF7TY, KW6G. Yeah, very fine, Tapio. So your rig's sounding really fine business down here. You're 5 and 9 plus, just really good audio. We're on the Drake TR4CW RIT this evening with RV4C VFO, remote VFO. To the unfed half wave up about 25 feet or so. And a Shure 444 microphone. It's about 150 watts out the pipe, I think, more or less, plus or minus. Who knows? Anyways, that's Drake this evening. Do you have anybody else around for the Drake West Coast Net? This is KW6G. Come now, please.
Kilowatt 2 Lima, Mike, Queen.
KW2LMQ. Go ahead, Paul.
I'm sorry, go ahead. There was a double. That was WB6MWL. Go ahead, Paul, and then turn it over to Jay. Okay, hi, guys. This is Paul, K2LMQ, in Kingman, Arizona. And I'm just doing something crazy tonight. Usually I'm on here with one of the pieces of Drake there, like the TR7 that Robert has. But that's in the other room. Tonight I'm in the bedroom doing some stuff on the computer and was just kind of listening and heard you guys, so I thought I'd check in. I'm just running, the ICOM IC765, which is the bedroom rig in here, and everybody sounds good, so if you're copying me, I'll stay in for a couple. And signals apparently are pretty good tonight. I'm only running 100 watts into the inverter V at 75 feet. And that is the story. And Tapio, man, it's been a long time. Good to hear you again. And Robert, nice to meet you. Over to you, JWB6MWL, K2LMQ.
Yeah, K2LMQ, WB6MWL. Very good. Yeah, good copy on everybody here so far. We're running the TR7, driving the L7. About, it looks like about 800 watts there. So, man, I was hearing some stations back east, but they kind of faded out, so maybe it's going to be a little better than last week. So, I'll turn it back up to you, Charles. I don't even know exactly what time it is here. KW6G, WB6MWL.
WB6G, MWL, KW6G at 0340 UTC or 740 Pacific Standard Time there, Jay. Not a problem. Nice signal, good audio this evening. Everybody is great. This is Armchair Coffee. What a difference from last week. Last week it was rough. It was rough. We didn't even have a net last week. Anyway, is there anyone else around for the Drake West Coast net before we get started? It's KW60. Not hearing anyone. We'll get started with the group we have. Good evening, QSC. This is the Drake West Coast net. This net meets every Thursday evening at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time or 7:30 Pacific Daylight Time. Take your pick. I don't know what kind of time we got going on here. We call it local time. Anyway, on Thursday evening, 3895 kilohertz. For an hour or so, chit-chat discussion, mostly centered around Drake equipment, but we'll talk about anything and anywhere as long as it doesn't offend anybody. And we only ask that participants be willing to join in the conversation. There's no dues, no assessment, no formal roll call. This is a first-come, first-served roundtable affair. And most of the folks on here are running Drake equipment, so I say it's not a requirement for checking in. And from time to time we get discussing Drake equipment and technical issues, so if you're having a problem with a piece of Drake gear, stop by and ask questions, and we'll be glad to help you to the best of our ability. My name is Charles, Charlie Hotel Alpha Romeo Lima Echo Sierra, and I'm the Drake West Coast net control most evenings. And I'm located in Clayton, California, Charlie Lima Alpha Yankee Tango Ocean November, California, about 30 miles east of San Francisco. This evening we have on frequency, we have Skip K6LGL in Santa Monica. We have Robert near Medford, Oregon in W7NER. And welcome, Robert, for first time check-in. And then we have an old-time check-in that we haven't heard from quite a while. We have Tapio KF7TY, and he's in Ellensburg, Washington. And then we have Paul in Kingman, Arizona, K2LMQ. And then we have Jay at WB6MWL in Montclair, California. Before we go for the first round, is there anyone else who'd like to check into the Drake West Coast net that I didn't already call on that list? This is KW60. Come now, please. Okay, not hearing anybody. We will take it in that order. We'll start with Skip, and then Skip can pass it over to Robert. And then Robert pass it up to Tapio, KF7TY. If Tapio can't copy you, we'll give you a relay. That's no problem. And then Tapio pass it back to Paul, K2LMQ, and then Paul over to Jay, WB6MWL, and then Jay back to me, and we'll try round two. One announcement I have to remind everyone who's just checked in, next Thursday is Thanksgiving, and there will be no formal Drake West Coast net on Thanksgiving. It's the one week we do not meet here formally, but if you want to stop by and talk to anybody who's hanging around, an informal gathering, you're welcome to do so. Anyway, I won't be here next week, so I gotta go to a big Thanksgiving party every year for our family. So I won't be here next week. Anyway, go ahead, Skip K6LG on the group. This is KW60.
Well, very good. Thank you very much, Charles, and good evening to all from Santa Monica. K6 Little Green Light, Skip. Okay, well, good copy from everybody. Nice signal from you there, Jay, and of course, Paul, you're always booming in here there near Kingman, Arizona. And Tapia, great to hear you on this net, and your S9 Plus also. So, and Robert, welcome to the group. I checked into this net, I don't know, fairly soon after you started it. You know, we supported, and then some of the guys support the net that I run on Saturday, which is the Swan net, dedicated to Swan equipment, you know, and that's all creation of, or generation of Herb Johnson, W6QKI, produced mostly in Oceanside, California. So, yeah, we love no tube equipment, but Drake certainly is one of my passions too. So very, very good. Well, at least the band is in a little better shape. Yesterday, I tried to check in the AM stations from AMI, and the band went long, couldn't hear anybody within 100 miles, but about 300 miles away, signals were loud and clear. But so many people got discouraged, so, you know, it wasn't very successful AM net. But tonight it sounds a lot better. So over to you there, Robert, and what's the community that you're in, or the city or town there? And I'm in Santa Monica, sort of halfway between Malibu and the Los Angeles airport, roughly. So there you go. Well, no, that's not true. It's halfway between Palos Verdes Peninsula and the so-called Point Dumais. And it's roughly halfway inland on the base, a little bit closer to the northwest side. All right, over to you there, Tapio. Over to you, Robert. W7 MER. NER. K6 Little Green Light.
WA6 Juliet Kilowatt November.
JKN, you're noted.
We got you, Kevin.
Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, K6LGL in the group, Whiskey 7 November Echo Radio. Robert here in Central Point, Oregon, near Medford, in case you don't know where Central Point is. And, Southern Oregon, about 25 miles from the California border, the northern border. And, my first time on the net here, using a Drake that I acquired, a TR7 that I acquired a couple months ago. I guess the man was a doctor and a long-time ham operator, and I bought it from a second party there, and really happy I got the rig. And it's serial number 500, so I know it's a low serial number, but I'm pretty happy to have the rig. I really, really enjoy this. So I heard you guys have a net, thought I'd jump in and say hello. So I'll move it along to Tapio, KF7TY. This is Whiskey 7 November Echo Radio.
Yeah, real fine there, Robert. W7NER, KF7TY. And fantastic signal out of Central Point, Oregon. And I know exactly where that is. Actually, a classmate of mine was from there. Her and I went to school together at OIT down in Klamath Falls. I grew up in Astoria, Oregon. So TR7 sounds fantastic. Well, nice to hear you, Charles, Skip, Robert, Paul. Long time, yes. Yes, I've missed your melodious voice. K2LMQ there. And Jay and Kevin, nice to hear everybody. Like I said, I'm on the TR4CW here, RV4C, and an MN2000 Transmatch, L4B, a full gallon output going up to a wire antenna this evening. And it's even traveling through a Drake remote antenna switch out there. So nice to hear everybody. I'll try to be more of a regular now that the winter months are here. And summertime, spring, summer, fall conditions are kind of tough for me. And when the weather's good, I'm out drag racing or doing something else anyway. But so fantastic to hear everybody. The band seems to be great. Over to you, Paul. K2LMQ, KF7TY.
Yeah, great. And again, great to hear you again. And I have missed some of your drag racing stories. Anyway, KF7TR and the group K2LMQ. Okay, good evening, Kevin, dropping in here. Good to hear you, and wondering where you're located, if you're remote or home or what have you there. And boy, signals are great tonight. Can't complain. It's been a little rocky lately, as we have discussed here. So I'll give you guys my story for the night. I decided that I have several NCX3s which haven't worked for years. So I decided it was time to do something about it. So I took one of the power supplies and recapped it except for one cap, and put one on there, and by golly, it was working pretty good. I said, okay, let's keep going. So I went to put in, there was one tan cap that I had to replace, and it was wires coming through and everything. It was a little rough to get, and in the process of trying to do it, there were a couple of wires there from the filter choke, and trying to get the wires rearranged so I could put a capacitor in down below. I managed to pull one of the wires out of the filter choke. So there we go, back to square one again. I do have an extra power supply here, so I've got to scrounge the choke out of that and put it in this one. But I was going pretty good there for a while anyway. And the other thing is, a couple of weeks ago, I just got the urge to start to do stuff again. And, you know, we all go through these lapse periods. And I dug out the Hammerland 420, which was from 1948, and it's a little novice transmitter, runs about 15 or 20 watts, and it managed to get that going, and so I'm on a roll here, short the delay of the filter choke, and that's the story here. Weather's been absolutely great during the day, but it's bitter cold and windy at night. We're up at 4,000 feet in northwestern Arizona, and that is the story. So let's see, it goes over to Jay. Let's see, goes over to Jay. WB6MWL, K2LMQ. Take her away, Jay.
Okay, Paul, K2LMQ, WB6MWL. Yeah, good signal. I think you're on ICOM, I think you said. But good copy. Here, yeah, I'm copying everybody pretty good. Good evening, you, Tapio. Yeah, it's been a while there since you've been on. I can't remember how long, but I know it's been a while. So good to hear you again. And yeah, it's been cold like that here too at night, Paul. It gets down in the 40s. No, not. We did have some wind, but it subsided, thank goodness. But during the day, it gets up to around 70, so that's nice. You can get out and do things outside. So I'm going to probably make this my only one here. I got something I have to do at 8 o'clock, so I think it's coming up on 8 o'clock. So, Charles, I sent you an email. I don't know if you got it or not, so I just mentioned that about Saturday. So, let me turn it over to Kevin. And Kevin, I saw your article in Electric Radio. Very interesting there. I read that, I think it was yesterday I got that and read it. WA6JKN, WB6MWL, 73. K6LK.
Okay, we got you, Bill.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jay. Yeah, I found out that from the Collins net this past Friday that Electric Radio was publishing. As a matter of fact, I think it was somebody here several weeks back had mentioned that Electric Radio was a good place to go to publish the article. And yeah, it turned out that that's where it ended up. The going down the Collins Collectors path, that was a little dubious, to say the least. Weeks and weeks and weeks went by, and I couldn't get a status or anything like that. Then all of a sudden, at the last minute, I get an email from the president, and the Collins Collectors Group. By that time, I thought the organization was pretty much defunct, because I went to the web page and there hadn't been anything updated since 2015 or something like that. And there were old articles and old archives were missing and all that kind of stuff. So I figured, well, maybe it's just an organization that's really struggling to stay alive. So I figured, well, there's no sense in wasting any more time. I haven't heard anybody in, I think it was almost 2 months or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I don't have a timeline in front of me. And so there were other options that the ham radio community had suggested, and I'm very grateful for all the suggestions made by folks here and on the SwanNet and other places that it finally got published, picked up and published. So that's a good thing. And, of course, you can't, there's not a whole lot you can put into a service bulletin. You just want to give them the facts, Say, okay, this is what you need to do to fix the problem. But anybody who's interested in how I discovered it, the process I went through and all that, I had written a 7-page report to the board there at Collins. Never got a response from them or anything. But they basically came up with 5 good questions. The questions were somewhat surprising to me because they were, most of the answers could have been found within the Collins manual, the care and feeding document, and in basic engineering knowledge. And so anyway, notwithstanding, I went ahead and whipped out a 7-page report and sent it off to them. They explained everything in detail. And, of course, that is always available to anybody that wants to read what went behind this thing, because, in preparation of finding what the root cause was, I had to prepare the radio, get the radio to a point to where I could begin the investigation. And basically what that means is you got to, one, perform an as-built, as-designed configuration audit to find out what the configuration is of your radio with respect to its design. Once you do that, then you got to go through all the voltage charts and resistance charts for all the tubes, make sure that those are all in order. And then once you complete that, you go through and do your visual inspections for poor connected grounds and all that kind of stuff, and make sure that's all cleaned up and tightened, and then replace any components like silver micas and stuff like that. Well, that whole process took about 5 years to do to get it ready for going through a fault tree analysis, very disciplined fault tree analysis. And I'll just tell you right up front, given the design of the Collins KW Sugar 1, you just can't hook an oscilloscope to it and be that your primary instrument, or even a spectrum scope reading signals and stuff like that. Because it interferes with the circuit. So you have 2 things happening. Number one, you have the test equipment interferes with the Collins circuitry, or you have the Collins transmitter interfering with the measurement equipment. So it's kind of like a catch-22. So I came up with a methodology that I was taught as a second-year engineering student, and that is to build a Faraday cage and introduce pinpoint RF insertion fields in the circuitry so you can locate. So that takes a separate transmitter to be able to do that it will generate the signal that was necessary to simulate the RF feedback that was being picked up by the poorly laid out 250 kilohertz signal path. Well, anyway, I won't get into it any more than that, but that worked like a champ. I was able to pinpoint all the pickup points where the RF was being picked up by the 250 kilohertz signal path, and to my surprise, there was about half a dozen long center conductor pigtails that they had to create. So what they did is they broke up the coax, or the 250 kilohertz signal path, broke it up into these long pigtails along the way, and then they relied on the ground of the coax on a common chassis along the way, and it was just a mess. And of course, all of this was put on top of a bundle of other cables that carried all kinds of different things, like, well, I won't get into it here, but carried all other kinds of things that could be easily picked up. Now, why was it being picked up? Or why was it interfering? That's the best word. The reason why it was interfering, if you look at the design, the 250 kilohertz signal was very, very, very small. Very small. So any outside influence could easily disrupt the path. And if you take a look at the design of the first mixer, it's not really a mixer, a traditional mixer at all. It's more of a, say, a cathode follower. So whatever disturbance ended up on the input of the high impedance, which was about 20, what was it, about 20, oh, I'd have to go back and look at my notes, but it was easily mixed in with its output. The difference between the 250 kilohertz oscillator and the PTO. And so it was causing RF feedback. So here's the trick. When you finally look at it on the spectroscope, what do you see? You see the traditional footprint of feedback. In this particular case, it was RF feedback. But since you have the ability to change the time, you can actually see the ripples of the multiple frequencies as it was oscillating during the feedback event. So that's pretty much the end of it. I have all this documented, provided that to the Collins board. I never heard anything back, never got a thank you. All I got was somebody saying that they were going to, what were they going to do? Something about copyright and all this kind of stuff. I don't know anything about copyrights and this and the other. Quite frankly, I don't really care. But I'm glad that it's out there. I haven't seen the electric radio. I'm not even subscribed to electric radio. So maybe one day I'll get a copy. Maybe the company will send me a copy. I don't know. But I'm glad it's there, and if anybody has any questions about how all that stuff works, just feel free to drop me an email. I'd be happy to share with you the 7-page report that describes everything pretty good. So there you go. And I'm not sure who I turn it back over to. So Charles, I'm going to send it over to you. Oh, I forgot to answer Paul's question. Paul, I'm back from Texas. Had a great time there, and I'll talk a little bit about that the next time around. WAE6JKN. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, very good, Kevin. Goes up to Bill, K6LK, KW6G. Go ahead, Bill.
Thanks, Charles. KW6G, K6LK. Yeah, I was doing a door, trying to put a door up, and it's still off a quarter inch, so I've got to get back to that. But I'll make this my one and only round here. Propagation's great tonight. Everybody's nice and strong. And I'm glad you did that electric radio thing there, Kevin. That was kind of where I was going. I think that was a good way for you to go. And as far as the Collins Collector Association goes, maybe they just don't have any interest in a KW Sugar 1. Anyway, I've worked on them before, and I can tell you they're an interesting radio to work on. You got to go deep in it, and I have found that the Dahl hemostats that you can get on Amazon
along with the restringing for the dolls that my wife and I get involved in, is very good thing to look into. They're long-nosed hemostats, and they can go deep into some of those cavities that, you have to work on sometimes on these radios. Anyway, back there to you, Charles, and thanks for letting me in. KW6G, K6LK.
K6LK, KW6D. Very good there, Bill. And, if you're not back for the second round 73s there, buddy, and have a good Thanksgiving. Anyway, let's go round 2 here, and we'll see what develops after we get through with it. But the band seems to be starting to change because Bill's signal was dropping out there a little bit, and he was 5 and 9 plus when he got on the first. And of course, WA6JKN is just knocking my doors off. He's 5-9 plus 20. He gets the prize here this evening, Kevin. That's for sure. Interesting on your article. I haven't got my electric radio yet, so I have to look out for that. Should be getting it any day because I only publish it bi-monthly now. Okay, let's take it from the top one more time and see if anyone wants to hang around for a third round. We'll start off with Skip and go to Robert, and from Robert over to Tapio, and from Tapio over to Paul over to Jay, and then, no, pardon me, Jay checked out. So Paul, kick it over to Kevin, and then I guess Bill checked out. So we'll see what happens after that. One thing, I did check the serial number database on the WB4HKN website, and their earliest recorded manufacture date for serial number 793 on the TR7 is September 23rd, 1978. So your serial number 500 was probably one of the first Robert. So interesting. They have a serial number earlier than in WB4HKN's website database, because he has a very extensive database and a lot of information about Drake equipment. So just Google WB4HKN and HFN, and you'll come up with a lot of information there you might be interested in. Okay, over to you, Skip. K6LG on the group. KW6G started off with round 2.
Okay, thank you, Charles. And DrakeNet, K6LGL, K6 Little Green Light in Santa Monica. Kevin, with your usual that you give far more details than we can handle. I think I was one of them that mentioned on the SwanNet that you should try submitting it to N0DMS. Ray Osterwald, who's the publisher of Electric Radio, and evidently, he responded a little bit faster than the Collins Group did. Yeah, they have their times they have their difficulties because it's a labor of love, and some difficult to organize and to pull things together. But they keep on trying. That's the important thing. So very fine on the details of the KWS-1. Robert, you're holding up very well there with the TR-7. And also you, Tapio, I'm surprised how well the signals are. As crummy and lousy they were yesterday on the AMI net, about 95% better today. Hi. So I'm very, very pleased to hear all of you. Good signal, the same way with you, Paul. Got a rocking, stomping, strong signal. You really were hitting that modulation hard. And also there to Jay, you sound very nice. Kevin, good sounding radio always. And hey, good to hear you in there, Bill. K6LK, thanks for joining us. So, I'm good that you canceled the net for Thursday. That's probably an excellent idea. Also, some of us may be through with the Thanksgiving dinner, but sometimes, it's nice not having to rush back home to get on the net also. So So, good idea. Everybody enjoys a happy Thanksgiving. So, over to you there, Robert, W7NER. They're in interesting place, Central Point, Oregon. I think I've been close to there, but I didn't exactly go there. But I did come up the other route, up to not Medford, where was that thing? That was a couple of years ago. Anyway, back to you, W7NER, K6 Little Green Light.
Okay, K6LGL, Whiskey 7 November Echo Radio. Yeah, Central Point is nowhere near the center of Oregon, so it's kind of a strange name, but someone had a sense of humor or something. Charles, on the serial number 500, I'll have to look that up. Thanks for the info on that. I know it says 1978 in the filter department, or 1977 in the filter department, and when I was looking in there. So, yeah, it's definitely a 78 model, but I'll try to find out how early, or if it's one of the first ones made or whatever. But I know the gentleman who owned it was an avid ham. He had a whole station with all kinds of older rigs, and I think he was the kind of guy who was the first one to have things. But not sure about that, but he sure did keep things in good shape, so I appreciate that. And speaking of filters, Noble Radio makes filters, and some of you might be aware of that for the TR7, and I'm going to pick up a 2.8 filter and possibly a 4.0 filter and install it in here, because the audio on this can be very, very nice, and I might invest in those coming up in the next couple weeks when they become available again. So I'm looking forward to possibly widening things up a little bit on the receive at least, and maybe I'll sound better next time I'm on here. Anyway, I'll be done for the evening, I think, here, but I really appreciate it, enjoyed it, and thanks to everyone. And I'll send it to Tapio, KF7TY, Whiskey 7 November Echo Radio.
Whiskey 7 November Echo Radio, KF7 Tango Yankee, Ellensburg, Washington. Well, I'd say your TR7 sounds just fine. It sounds great audio up here. Of course, I'm listening to you on a Drake also, so yeah, Drake to Drake. Yeah, no, it sounds great. And 73 to the guys that have already left and the guys that are listening out. Nice to hear everybody. Charles, Skip, Robert, Paul. Fantastic to hear you, Jay, Kevin, Bill. Yeah, real fine, Kevin, on the KWS-1. I got one sitting right over there. It's actually on right now. It needs a little bit of work on it, but I turn it on about once a week, make sure everything's going good. Slowly getting it back on the air. It's been a few years since it's been back on the air, so I've owned it about 20 years, so great radio. But man, they take a lot of time to bring back from the grave, and that's what this one was. It's in nice shape, but I had to replace a lot of components about 15 years ago, and then used it for a while, and it's been kind of collecting dust last few years, so hoping to bring it back and get it on the air this winter again. But man, the work stuff gets in the way, so but that's just the way it goes. So yeah, well, real fine. I'll try to be a regular here. Thursday nights. I know next week is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and safe holidays. And maybe I'll be here on the radio, maybe not, but I'll try to be here more often. So nice to hear everybody. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and yeah, I'm going to listen out and see
see what everybody else has to say, so I'm going to send it down to Kingman, Arizona. Paul, K2LMQ, KF7TY. Take it away, sir.
Well, thank you, KF7TY, K2LMQ. Okay. Boy, signals are good tonight. Can't complain about anything. Fine all the way around. Good, interesting QFIL with good conditions here tonight. And good to hear what's coming along on the projects. We all have our endless queues, so to speak. Anyway, I got to get back on the NCX3 project. I want to get that done. You know, I've had it once since 1964, and I just want to get it up and running again. I always enjoy using it. And the thing is stable now. It's unbelievable, so I'm real happy with that. So back to the filter choke thing. Okay, guys, we'll say 73's here. I still have to finish up some stuff to do. And good to hear you all. I'm glad conditions are good. Happy Thanksgiving and safe travels to all. And I might be on Thanksgiving Eve. If not, I'll see you on the following week. And this week I'll probably see you on Saturday night. Robert, the Swan Group is on Saturday night. Same time, same frequency, and it's the same people, somewhat the same people here and there. So there's probably 3 or 4 of us on now that'll show up there. Anyway, 73's all the way around, and I will toss it to Jay. And if Jay, if you're not there, toss it to Kevin, please. So it's, let's see how we're going to do this now. Okay, WB6 MWL and or WA6JKN, K2LMQ saying 73s, and thanks for a great one, guys.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I think he said he had to be there somewhere at 8 o'clock, so he's gone.
Go ahead, Kevin. WA6JKN, KW60.
Okay, hang on a second here. I got to mute KFS. Okay, there we go. All right, very good. Yeah, well, I was going to talk about the silobration there in Waco, Texas, but I think I'll forego that until next week. Well, not next week, the week after that, since we got Thanksgiving coming up. And let's see, find business on the comments on the electric radio, so on and so forth. And Tapio, your KW Sugar 1. Yeah, just let's see here. Let me see if I can figure out the reference number here real quick. I had pulled this up to communicate it back to. I did this like a couple of years ago in the care and feeding of the Collins KW Sugar 1. I found errors in the document, and I got a hold of the author and sent it off to him, and said, you know, for future generations, we need to get this stuff fixed. And nothing ever happened. So I brought it up again with the board, and yeah, I don't know what. I guess it made file 13 again. So, but I'm going to tell you, because if you go through your alignment procedure, you know, you probably want to be aware of the document, the care and feeding document. There's a couple of tuning slugs in there that are written in reverse, L204 and L206. Those are reversed in the document, so you got to go through the alignment procedure in the order that they tell you. You're going to run into problems, and so I wanted to share that with you, Tapio. Let's see what else, and also any mention of detuning L207 and its corresponding capacitor, trim capacitor. Don't do it. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes in that document. that ever came out, because it really destroys the performance of the rig. And I won't get into the details of what actually happens, but I do have it covered in my 7-page report, which was real too technical to send off to anybody for publication. But I did send it to the board. They needed to know. Also, I have 2 more service bulletins in the waiting. One has to do with the the design of the KW Sugar One's PTO. The PTO, as you know, drifts, and it drifts up and down depending upon how long your transmit is, and then drifts in the opposite direction as a result of cool down. That's a combination of pushing and pulling a low Q or detuned circuit, and it's also as a result of the hot box, which holds the 4CX250s. Those things run about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and boy, the transfer of heat from that hot box to the PTO is just unreal. It exceeds the design parameters actually of the PTO. So I came up with a very inexpensive fix that removes almost 200 degrees Fahrenheit heat from that hot box, so the PTO has a surviving chance of actually being a stable oscillator. I said in my 7-page report I knew something was wrong because, you know, I've been an owner of a KW1 and it's been in the family for over 60 years. I guess it's almost 70 years now, or getting close to it. And I knew that how is it possible that a single sideband transmitter has more of a drift problem than my AM transmitter? So, look for another service bulletin to come out in the near future. Well, it may not be the near future. I'm working on other projects right now. And also, there was another service bulletin I introduced to the Collins Collectors Group. The board of directors, I should say, is the... what was it? It was the hot box, and there was at least one other one in there that was really a good fix to a problem that was happening. And I don't know if it was with the KW1 or if it was with the KW Sugar One right now, but there's more to come. And I want to get all this stuff out of my my books and get it published for future generations, because that's who we have to think about, is the hams in the future that are going to inherit all of this old equipment. And the more we share with them our knowledge, I think the better off they'll be in maintaining this stuff. All right, well, that's it for me. I'm going to say 73. Oh, I wanted to thank Bill for the very long hemostats. Bill, I had manufactured all the specialty tools that I couldn't buy off the shelf. I had manufactured here locally, and so all the tools that needed to rebuild an engine from the tailpipe of a station wagon, I have all those tools. And but I do thank you for the suggestion. Also, keep in mind that service bulletin, I don't think I made it clear enough. You do not want to disturb the bundled cables in a Collins KW Sugar One. I won't get into the details of why. So when you install the new coax to go to the point-to-point connections to make your runs really, really short, leave the old coax in place. Just disconnect them and put shrink tubing on them so they don't electrically come in contact with anything. And the performance of your KW Sugar One will be so significant, you will kick yourself for not knowing about this, many, many years ago. This problem's been in existence for almost 70 years. The potentiometer stability significantly improved. output power. You tired of the 400 or 500 watts? How about 800 watts? Yeah, that's something really new. By the way, it's a kilowatt DC input transmitter. It should put out 800 watts. And, of course, when you get up in the higher bands. How about the low drive problem on lower sideband? Everybody thinks it was the crystal. Nope, that wasn't it. It was because of the detuning of L207. What about the low gain overall, especially in the higher bands? Same problem, all fixed by not having to detune L207, and most importantly, increasing the signal of the 250 kilohertz local oscillator, bringing that level up where it belongs from a design standpoint. So there's all kinds of goodness that from something as simple as rerunning the 250 kilohertz transmission line really made all the difference in the world. And the KW Sugar 1's no longer a difficult transmitter to work on. The alignment procedure becomes so smooth without any hookups now that you will be smiling from ear to ear. All righty, 73, good night, everybody. WA6 JKN is off and clear.
WA6JKN and the group KW6G. I believe Bill already checked out. So thanks, Kevin, for all that information. Your signal's way down. It's down around S3, S4 now, so maybe you can't copy me. I think we lost NVIS on the band. I'll make this short and sweet. Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone on the band who can still hear me. And everybody take care. Have a safe holiday. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks at the Drake West Coast net. I'm going to close the net now and return the frequency to normal amateur use because band conditions are deteriorating. 73s, everybody. Have a good one. Eat lots of turkey and have a nice nap afterwards. Hi. Take care. And a very good evening, everyone. This is KW6G closing the net and returning the frequency to normal amateur use. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, all. K2LMQ.
Yeah, you're beginning to fade also there, Charles. Then the shifting around again. Thank you, everybody, and Robert, welcome aboard. And please join us, and if you want to join us on the Swan Net on Saturday there, 3895 about 7:30 or so. Good night, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to all, and good to hear all of you. K6 Little Green Light, Santa Monica by the Bay.
Thank you, Skip. And you're right, Robert. Feel free to join us every week. We're here. You're always welcome. W7NER KW6G. 73s, everybody.
Okay, thanks, guys, and 73s. See you next time.